Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Treasure Travel, and here is her story. SNF by Treasure Travel. I would like to discuss a characteristic of extreme narcissism I have noted in two former friends, Natasha and Marine, and a former boss. For simplicity, I am going to call this trait SNF, which stands for sadistic need to see others fail. Basically, narcissists who display this not only need to win, but they also need everyone else to lose. Yeah, I think that's a basic tenet of narcissism, that, they need to see everybody fail around them. That's certainly my father. Every narcissist, I think, in our lives, on some level, wants you to fail. Isn't that what narcissism is? Isn't that what the narcissism main tactic is to have you feel like a failure so you can control? Now, you're focusing in on friends here, and girlfriend relationships, and when you got some extreme nastiness when you couple that in, but it happens in male friendships as well, but men don't put up with it. When someone's a hater and someone's constantly negative, men tend to shy away from that, and I find women seem to end up getting controlled by that more in a friendship type of environment, separate from family. I'm talking like friendship. Like, guys will sort of check each other on that shit. True male companionship is you want to see your buddy succeed. You want to see him get ahead. There might be some ball breaking, and it might seem pretty brutal at times. Okay, but with true friends that person's going to have your back and wants you ultimately to succeed. It's different, I think, for women. Where it's a lot more common where the queen bee of the group wants everyone to fail around them. And the difference, I think, between men and women is women won't exclude that woman. They'll flock to her. Whereas men will be like, fuck this dude. This guy's an asshole, and move on from it. I realized early in my friendship with Natasha that she could not stand to hear anything good about anyone. For example, I once mentioned in passing that a mutual acquaintance of ours, Sandra, had been Miss Oakville when she was 18. Natasha physically bristled and said there was no way that could be true because Sandra was fat and not pretty. Yeah, man. Look, this is one of these women. These hater women, everything about them is centered around looks, because that's all they have. And when it's centered around looks, she's thinking with her vagina. That, you are not talking to Natasha. You are talking to her vagina. That is how, when men, you say men let their dicks think for them, this is how women let their vaginas take over their lives. Okay? Because every woman is a competition that needs to be cut down. Because it's all about her. It's all about her looks and her being queen bee. That's her vagina talking. That's letting her vagina run her life. You've heard me mention that in other videos. I think I've been through that before, that explanation. I'll run through it again. That is how. Whereas a man letting their dick do the thinking is all about the sex and the physical. A woman letting her vagina run her life, this is how that happens. It's not promiscuity. It's this type of stuff. This is a woman who is so empty and so shallow. All she has is her looks. i.e. the value of her own vagina. That's how she values herself. That's why she has the automatic need to rip down everybody around her, everything else. Because that's her vagina doing her thinking for her. Actually, Sandra was beautiful at age 38, so it was not hard to imagine how lovely she had been at 18. It was beyond strange how hell-bent Natasha was to contradict this true story about a person she hardly knew. On another occasion, I told Natasha that another mutual acquaintance, Betty, was moving from Oakville to Hillview, and this also invoked her strangeness. She insisted that Betty and her husband would not be able to afford a house in Hillview, citing as evidence that she had driven by their current house and it was modest, and she considered them to be blue-collar workers. That is sociopathic. See, this is what she has to do. She has to evaluate everyone else. Everyone else's possessions, everyone else's looks, because that's all she has. That's all she has. That's how insecure that this woman is. That's how insecure this woman is. That she is going to get in her car and take stock of another woman's husband and another woman's house and what class that they are. That's her vagina talking to her, telling her she's not good enough. She's not pretty enough. Her vagina hasn't generated enough money. That's how she thinks. That's what you're competing against. Don't compete against the narcissist vagina. You'll never win. You'll never win because it's one track. Tear it down, tear it down, tear it down, tear it down. That's how it works. Don't compete with the narcissist vagina. The fact that she has already sized up Betty to assure herself that Betty was far beneath herself in economic station was alarming. I wondered what she actually thought of me. You don't want to know. She wouldn't be hanging around. Understand something. Her vagina wouldn't allow her to hang around you if she didn't have some way to tear you down. She's already tore you down, okay? In her mind, she's already got it, okay? She's already shit-talked you 1,000 ways to Sunday. That's what her vagina does. She can't stop it. She has no control over it. It can't be stopped. It can't be stopped, no matter what. And the sad thing about this woman is there is no satisfying her vagina. No matter how good looking a guy is, no matter how much money, there's always going to be somebody more, something better, something on the other, because her vagina will never give her a moment's rest. You can't compete against it. She can't stop it. When you step back and you look at how sad this really is, how pathetic this really is, you gotta just kind of shake your head and like, wow, wow. And it makes you wonder why so many women flock to women like this. Why these type of women aren't excluded from the group. They become the figurehead of the group. That's what's scary. She made it a point in many conversations to say that her husband made lots of money working at a prestigious advertising firm, and she would subtly try to get me to reveal details of my finances. Right, because her vagina is always evaluating. It's always judging. It's always judging. It's always telling her she's not good enough. This girl could be better. She could be better. She could be better. This person's better. That person's better. He makes more money. That makes more money. You're shit. That's what her vagina is doing. You don't want to compete against that. She has no control over it. It became clear to me that Natasha could only tolerate me as a friend as long as she convinced herself that I was poorer, less intelligent, and that my kids were deficient relative to her kids. Her conversations were boastful and peppered with veiled digs directed at me and my kids. For example, she told me how amazing her daughter had done on the standardized tests in second grade. I told her that was great and that my daughter had also done well on the test. She looked at me incredulously and said, "Was it the standard 9? I told her I did not know the name of the test, and she said, and I quote, "It was probably the standard 9. Our private school does not use the standard 9 because it's not rigorous enough." With Natasha, every goddamn thing was a competition. With her vagina, you might as well just been as vulgar. Just sit there and just talk to her coos. Just talk to her because that's what you're talking to. Okay, are you satisfied, Natasha's vagina? Are you satisfied? You're better, okay? That's who you're talking to. You're not talking up here. You need to talk down there, as vulgar as it is. What is it with you, Natasha's vagina? What is your problem? Never good enough. Understand what you're arguing with. Especially children, since they came out of the precious vagina. So now by proxy, they are attached to her vagina. It's all value of what her vagina can produce, whether it be a husband, making money, expel in children, and value. Her whole value is her vagina. Just talk to her sniz. Honestly, you get it? Because that's what was criticizing you. Another friend of mine, Maureen, was a somatic narcissist who was overly focused on her looks. She could only be friends with people she viewed as heavier, less fit, less pretty than herself. I guess was she trying to tell you something there? Instead of encouraging our mutual friend Dina with her diet, Maureen told her that her skin would sag if she lost weight, and that she would probably just gain the weight back anyway. Right. Another woman you're arguing with Maureen's vagina and Natasha's vagina. And Maureen's vagina don't like any other vaginas. And they don't want to see any other vaginas try to better themselves and become better vaginas. Okay? Because better vaginas mean less value to her. Understand. You're arguing with Maureen Sniz here. Hey, Maureen's cooter. What is it going to take to satisfy you? Nothing. And that's really your answer to all this. What would have satisfied Maureen's and Natasha's sniz? Nothing. Nothing. It's a bottomless pit. It's a gaping, bottomless, empty fucking pit. The narcissist's vagina. It's a horrible fucking place. A horrible fucking place. Whew. God. Just constantly, you're not good enough. She sucks. That's if she loses weight, she's going to be better than you. And that's the narcissist sniz. How lovely. How lovely. And when you sit back and you kind of apply this to our own lives, we see a lot of this behavior in our own mothers, in our own whoever the female narc in our lives were, because most of them think through their vaginas. That's where all their value is. Not most women, these women. It was clear that Maureen was trying to sabotage Dina's weight loss, obviously. Additionally, like Natasha, Maureen needed to feel that she was the wealthiest. She told all us friends how she had millions. She expressed disbelief when I told her that my husband and I were looking for a larger house. Despite her having millions, she was uncomfortable that I was worth more than she had originally decided. It did not matter that the cost of my new home was, relatively speaking, pocket change for someone as wealthy as herself. She stopped talking to me the day after I told her our plans. That was the end of our relationship. Right. Her vagina told her, I can't compete with this. Okay? So I have to alienate it, cut it off. It no longer exists. Okay? That vagina, okay, unfortunately, Treasure Travel's vagina became disease-ridden, metaphorically speaking. So we can't deal with that. We're not even going over there. We can't even look at it. It doesn't even exist. Okay? Because everything is through competition. And she's competing at what? Through her vagina. It's awful. It's awful. Maureen, like Natasha, could never be happy for anyone, for any little thing. She needed to be number one, but more than that, she also sadistically needed to see others fail. Another hallmark of this level of narcissism is the relentless backstabbing of friends with lies and exaggerations in order to devalue them in the eyes of other members of the community. My former boss, Sylvia, was a narcissist who displayed SNF. Although she desired everyone around her to fail, her success at work was 100% dependent on her subordinates' successes. This type of quandary results in more subtle execution of SNF. She would be shooting herself in the foot if she hurt the work. Instead, she tried to hurt the worker. She fostered the work and ideas while at the same time running interference with the happiness, satisfaction, pride, and credit anyone would feel and receive for their good work. One glaring way that Sylvia tried to execute SMP in the workplace was to claim that the best ideas of others were actually her ideas. Right. Her vagina steals. They steal. They steal credit because it's value. It's all about them. Instead of being able to realize that, hey, I get credit for putting together this competent team, they have to take all the credit for themselves because they're so shallow, and that's their vagina telling them any credit to anyone else is going to take away from me, and they're going to realize what a fucking valueless piece of shit you are. The narcissist, listen, the narcissist's vagina does the thinking 100% of the time. It's never off. It's always on. There's nothing up here that's not controlled by the sniz. Nothing at any given time. It's going to get worse as she gets older, not better. Worse as it rots. As it becomes less and less value in her mind because it's going to generate less wealth, no kids, has nothing. She's going to become worse and worse and worse. This is how it works. So in the work environment, they can't allow credit for anyone. It doesn't even make sense. Like, how could one person do all of this on their own? And they delude themselves to making other people believe like they know. But this is the corporate laziness that allows this. Okay? They don't want to tackle this because at the end of the day, the results are the results. They want the results. How you get there is how you get there. They don't want to fuck with the results, okay, to take on this fucking behemoth in the work environment, to have that narcissistic meltdown and 12 stages of corporate friggin' chaos that if you've worked in corporate and worked with a corporate HR, you know what I'm talking about. You know why they do what they do. and why they hide. You could tell her an idea one day, the next day she would announce it to the group as her own idea. When a real thinker questioned her, she got vicious, and since she was the one in power, that person got screwed. In a variation of this technique, Sylvia would assign credit for one person's idea to someone else in the group. Either way, whether she claimed it was her idea or someone else's idea, the strategy was to keep shuffling around and diluting the credit such that nobody ended up with real credit or real satisfaction. Us coworkers quickly caught on to Sylvia's manipulations, and we decided that whenever we had a good idea, we would first discuss it among ourselves and document it in emails, such that Sylvia would always be the last one to know. I actually took it a step further and only presented new ideas to Sylvia in front of the whole group in group meetings. In this way, I was doubly ensuring that she could not play her old tricks. Her response was always to argue how stupid the idea. Unknown to her, everyone else in the room had already given me good feedback and approval. She knew that they were good ideas, and her attack of those ideas and her public attack of me personally in those meetings was an absurd, desperate attempt at SNP. This discussion on SMP relates to other discussions on this channel. Ali made a video for me titled, "You're Not Allowed to Be Right with the Narcissist." That video discussed my father and his need to be right, even to the extent that he would lie and rewrite the narrative. You pointed out that not only did he need to be right, but that he needed me to be wrong, and you likened his behavior to that of your father's, who would say, "Even when I'm wrong, I'm right." I hope this discussion helps others maintain their sanity in their day-to-day healing with high-level narcissists, and encourages people to go no contact when possible. You can't make this shit up. Treasure travel. Well, first, again, overall theme of the video, understand you can't compete with the narcissist vagina, because it's never off. It's never, ever, ever off. It's where that hater need to tear everybody and everything around and I'm the queen bee comes from. Okay? And it's because they believe that that's the only value they have without their looks, and i.e. their vagina. They are nothing. They are nothing. So, I think your SNP really is more of a case of these narcissists who let their vaginas do their thinking for them. So, but I appreciate it. Appreciate the contribution and another story from Treasure Travel. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions and advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it growing, supported, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.